In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to paint a bright floral word painting with watercolors that is the perfect project to paint in the springtime. A painting like this would make a really great gift for someone, and it's really fun and easy to do. The supplies I'm using are Canson watercolor paper. This is cold pressed. This is an 11 by 15 inch pad here. And I'm also going to be using Ecoline liquid watercolors, and I have 6 colors here, just some basic colors: purple, blue, green, and then pink, orange, and yellow. You can also use any watercolors that you have. They don't have to be liquid watercolors. You also need a jar of water, of course, some small round paintbrushes. These are Princeton Select brushes that I have here. This is a size 4 and a size 2. And then you'll also just need a pencil and eraser for a little bit of sketching. So to start, we're just going to take a pencil and sketch out a word on this watercolor paper, just lightly. I'm going to do the word grow to go with the floral theme. And I'm going to leave the tail of this G unfinished for now because I might bring that around in a bit of a flourish below the rest of the word. And then take that tail and add a little bit of a flourish underneath. So once you have the word sketched out, we're going to go back and add some thickness to these lines. And this is going to give us some boundaries to paint inside of when we start painting. And for a calligraphy style, I'm going to make it thicker anywhere there's a downstroke. So it'll be thicker here, and then I'll make this downstroke thicker. But if that feels too complicated for you, you can just thicken up all the lines the same width, and you don't have to do that calligraphy style if you don't want to. So just take your time sketching this out, getting it to look how you want it to look. And then once you're ready to paint, we're just going to lightly erase all of this so it doesn't show up too much beneath the paint. To make it even easier for yourself, you can of course just type out a word on a computer and print that out and then trace it onto this paper with a light box, and that'll make this much easier so you don't have to do all of this by hand. I'm just going to lightly go over this with an eraser to make it lighter, and then we'll be ready to start painting. Alright, now we're ready to start painting. I'm going to take my size 4 round brush. So starting with some pink, I'm just going to paint some simple roses. Just staying within the boundaries of my sketch, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I can go outside a little bit, and that'll just give the word a little bit more of a natural edge. And one of the best things about painting small is that you can be a little bit looser and more abstract with what you paint. It doesn't have to be as defined or detailed, because I want this whole word to look kind of fresh and loose in style. And I'm trying to scatter this color evenly around. And let's move on to a little bit of orangey yellow and just paint some basic flower shapes. Again, these are really imperfect because when this all comes together, no single element is going to matter so much as just all of it together. So as I continue painting, the color starts running out on my brush and getting lighter, and I just like to let that happen because it adds some variety of color. Alright, I feel like I've pretty evenly scattered the orange around. So let's move on to some cool colors now. I'm going to start with a little bit of purple, and let's just add some more little rosettes with this color. And again, some of these strokes I'm making are really abstract. If you were to just look at them up close, they would pretty much just look like blobs, kind of. But when you look at the piece as a whole, you see what it's supposed to be. I think I'd like to add some yellow throughout here, and then we'll start adding some green leaves. So this yellow is a really light color, and I think I might just paint little circles around and not even try to define a certain type of flower. I'm getting to the point where I really need to start filling in space, so I might make some of these pretty big and just use this as filler. Alright, let's start adding in some green, and of course green is just going to be our leaves. And I'm just going to tuck in a simple little green leaf shape anywhere where there's some white space that needs to be filled in. And with these leaves you can really get outside of the boundaries too, and that will soften some of the edges and make it look really natural, like some of the leaves are just growing outside the boundaries. You can also dip into a little bit of blue if you want to vary the green color. Let's go back over and see if there are any spaces that need more definition or to be filled in a little bit more. You can refine this and play with this until it's how you want it to look. And once you are happy with how everything looks, let this dry completely, and then we'll erase any remaining pencil lines and add any finishing details we want to add. Alright, so the paint has all dried, so I'm just going to erase any remaining pencil lines. So now at this point, it's really up to you whether you want to leave it as is or add something more to it. So you could add some more definition by adding maybe a light gray shadow to one side of all the letters just to kind of lift them up off the page a little bit. You could go back in with a drawing pen and add some line work to some or all of the flowers. And of course you can continue to play with this idea and customize it with different colors, different words, different lettering styles, different flowers. You can even change up what you paint inside of the letters. It doesn't have to be flowers, it could be just all leaves. So I hope you have fun with this project and enjoy painting some bright, springy flower paintings.